Hello everyone, this is Natasha and welcome to another video. This is not a cooking channel, but I want to have a variety of videos on here, so I thought, why not create a tutorial making food? So today I'll be teaching y'all how to make baklava. It is a popular delicacy in Middle Eastern countries and some parts of the Mediterranean. It's not that difficult to make, so let's get started. I have all the ingredients that we'll need according to a recipe I found from Natasha's kitchen. I'll post a link in the description below. So I have 2 bars of butter, 1 lemon, some water, sugar, honey, and we have a cup for measuring. We'll need walnuts, some cinnamon, and 1 pound of phyllo dough. I bought 2 because they were 2 for $6 at Bonds. So let's get started. First thing we have to do is to melt the butter. Leave it melting here, we'll be needing it a little later. And while the butter is melting, we have to make the syrup to add to the baklava. So to make the syrup, we'll need 3/4 cups of water, 1 cup of sugar, half a cup of honey, and make sure you get all that in there. That's about it. And lastly, a bit of lemon juice. Now put over high heat and start stirring. We want to stir it until it starts boiling. Special shout out to MaddisonBush for giving me creative ideas on what to do for my channel. Be sure to check out her content, I'll post a link below as well. So see all those bubbles? That means it's starting to boil. Once it's boiled for a bit, we'll lower to medium heat for like about 4 minutes. Like that. So we'll stir and sit there. While that's getting done, we can turn our attention over to the walnuts. We'll be using about 5 cups of chopped walnuts, and we'll add a bit of cinnamon in there. Make sure you mix the walnuts well with the cinnamon.
Gives it a little kick.
Afterwards, we'll turn off the heat and just let it cool for the remainder of the time. We want to make sure the syrup looks clear, kind of what it looks like here. Okay, so now we begin the next step to butter the pan. We see that the butter is all melted, so with the horsehair paintbrush, we'll butter the pan. The next step is to get the phyllo dough ready. Be sure to follow the directions on the package for thawing phyllo. Because of phyllo dough's properties of being really thin, I know that working with phyllo might be a little bit difficult and intimidating, but get over it. It's not that bad. You just need practice with it. So now that we have it open, this is what it looks like. A quick tip while working with phyllo is to use a damp kitchen towel to cover it. This helps to prevent it from drying out and ruining your phyllo. Once it dries, it just cracks and there's not much you can do with it. The next step is to layer the phyllo, as I have done here. Depending on how large your pan is, you want to cut the phyllo according to the dimensions of your pan. What you want to do is that in between each layer, you want to butter thoroughly, comme ça. We want to repeat this process until we have layered about 10 sheets of phyllo. We have finally reached our 10th layer. Now, what we want to do is to layer the walnuts. We want to be sure to spread them out evenly. You know, a lot of people have asked me, what made you want to make baklava? So I look at them and say, you know, what got me into cooking was a quote from a movie called Ratatouille.
What do I always say? Anyone can cook.
So I said to myself, I should learn. So I did. After 5 times making baklava, here I am showing a tutorial on YouTube. Uh-oh, I noticed here a tear on my phyllo. If this happens to you, stop and just throw everything away. It's not going to come out right. Just kidding. Continue with the recipe. Tears are normal occurrences with phyllo. It's not the end of the world. It'll come out just as good. So after the walnut layer, add 5 more layers of phyllo. You know, this is so easy to make and it is sure to impress people because it looks and tastes really good. The times I've made this, it didn't last very long and it can serve up to 15 people. A quick story of how I got introduced into baklava for the first time. I was in a college class and I helped a classmate who was a refugee from Iraq. At the end of the semester, we had a potluck. He brought 2 trays of baklava. He put one for the potluck and the other he gave to me. "For you, my friend," he said. Let me tell you, it was very good. So, that's my story. When was the first time you tried baklava? Leave it in the comments below. I'd like to know. Once we reach the 5th layer, we want to add some more walnuts. We should have a few sheets of phyllo left, so we would use those for the final layers. So once you run out of phyllo, and after you have buttered the last layer, the next step is to cut into diamond shapes. You start cutting off vertically and then diagonally. The next step is to place it in the oven at about 350 degrees for about 1 hour and 15 minutes. Immediately after you take it out of the oven, you pour over the honey syrup. You should hear it crackle. That means that the baklava is sucking all the juices and lets your creation come alive.
Give my creation life!
Once we use all the syrup, the crackling sound should continue for a few minutes. Take this opportunity to turn up your speaker and listen to it crackle like French bread.
Oh, a symphony of crackle. Only great bread sound this way.
You let it cool for a few hours. I usually like to make it at night and let it completely cool overnight, so it's ready in the morning. This allows the phyllo to absorb the syrup and all the flavors come alive.
Life! Life, do you hear me?
The next and final step is to enjoy. As I mentioned, it is a very easy recipe and it tastes great. Let me know in the comments below how it turns out for you. If you're still watching this, the video is over. Go watch another one. But before you go, let me leave you with this. Life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.